This is how to make a multi-track music recording in BandLab. So from this page on my BandLab, I'm looking for this folder up at the top of the screen that says My Library, and I'm going to click there and I want to start a personal project. So I'm going to go to the mix editor and click that. So once this screen loads, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use loops. So this is how to connect real instruments or how to sing into BandLab. But I'm going to go down here where it says Browse Loops. And on this right hand side, I've got collections of loops that I can use, or I've just got a list of all the loops in one go. So up at the top here where it says packs, I could search for different genres and look for different genres. Now, some of them are great. They've got everything that you're going to need in them. Others haven't got as much. So if I go to electronic and just show you this one, this is just drums, minimal techno. If I go into this, all these are just drums. So if I click where it says instruments here, you'll see that all these are just beats and different kinds of drums. So some of these are great, and then some of them are a bit more limited. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how you can start to build a track using either a pack of loops or just all the loops on their own. So let's look at this pack. So I can click this play button, and this gives me some idea of what some of the loops inside this pack will sound like. So I'm going to open it up, and here I've got the loops, which is just the music that repeats again and again. So I'm going to go to instruments, and I want to choose a drum to start with. So I'm going to go and click on the drums, and that will give me all the drums down here. So if I click on one of these drums once, it plays it. So I can hear what it sounds like. And if I click it again, it stops. So let's go and click on this first one. Okay, so this is the one that I want. So I can either double click it and it will appear on the screen here, or I can just click it and drag it over here. Now I can speed up my track and slow my track down by clicking this button here, and the plus or the minus will make it get faster or slower. So I've got my first part of my track here. Now it's 4 beats long, so 1, 2, 3. So this is the first one, this is the second one, this is the third one, this is the fourth one. If I want to make it longer, there are 2 buttons up here. If I click this top button, then that makes the track longer, so that will adjust it. I'm just going to click undo. If I click this bottom button here, it will make it longer, but it puts empty space in. But I can use this to go the other way. So if I actually want to make it shorter, I can push it in using this button here. Okay, so let's just jump back to where we were. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag this, oops, wrong button. I'm going to drag this out with the top button to make it repeat itself. So it goes for 8 bars, 8 full bars, so it finishes when 9 starts. So I'm going to go now and get myself a bass. So I've clicked this drum button over here. And then I can go down to bass and click on here, and then I can listen to my next track. Okay, so I know I already want this one, so I'm going to drag it out, put it on the screen, and then that makes my second track that I've got here. So I can use these buttons if I want to make my track quieter or louder. I can use these buttons. So I can play them both together. And what I can do as well is if I just want to remind myself what one of them sounds like, I can press this S button, which is solo, and so that will just play this one. If I press the M button, that mutes this so that I can't hear this one and I can just hear the other one. So it's not so important when you've only got 2 tracks, but when you start to add more tracks, that starts to become more important. Okay. So that's how you can add a couple of tracks. So what I want to do is I just want to show you some longer ones that I've actually made. So up here we've got this particular one. I'll just play you a little bit of this and just jump back to the start. Okay, so just to give you a few ideas, what we've done up here is I've added the drums. So if I just hide these loops here, if I click this loops button down here, that will hide all this, and I can see the rest of my track. I can use this plus and minus button to zoom in and zoom out on my track so that I can see more of it. So you can see that my track here is coming up to 14 bars long, which is a strange amount. It normally goes in 4, so really it should go up to 16. But there we go. So what I can do is I could add more tracks on here. So I could go to loops, and then I could just carry on adding more tracks. Now, it makes sense to get them all from one pack, but I could also go to loops here, and I can click on instruments, and so this will give me all of those instruments. So if I want to go for strings, a kind of a violin sound, if I want to go for that, then I can click on one of these. Oh, that's more of a synthesizer sound, isn't it? And I can drag one of those on the screen. The thing with that is that they might not all fit together really nicely, so in a pack you've got more of a chance of those loops fitting together, but it's a case of you experimenting and seeing what you like. So a few other things that you can do. I can right click on some of these tracks here, and I could cut them or delete them. So if I click on one of these and I press delete, it will get rid of it, and I can put that back. I can copy and paste them as well, so I could right click or 2-finger tap on a Chromebook and copy, and so you can see that you can build up your piece of music. So you just keep listening, and it's whatever you like. See if you like the music that you're putting together, and you can always change it. So let's just have a look at something that's a little bit different. So this is a reggae style piece of music. Okay, so you might notice down here that this doesn't sound all the way through. So if I solo this track and go back to the start, so you can only hear this bottom one. So this is roots and dub organ number 4. This is roots and dub organ number 2. So it's not the same sound again and again and again. It's playing a different tune. So if you listen here, you'll hear it change. And then it'll change again now. And then here it's going to play number 7. Okay, so that's another way that you can make it sound different all the way through. So what you can do is you can go and you can search these. If you want to try to find them again, you can go to loops, or you can click this search button up here, and you can start to search for what you want to find. So you can see this is roots, so I can kind of go and find my roots and dub organ there. So if I've got a word in here and I want to try to find it again, I can just use the search up there so that I can find it. Okay, so that will give you 1 or 2 ideas so that you can start to build your piece of music. So when you've finished, one of the things that you can do is you can click save up here, and then it will give you the chance to put a name over here. So you will see that over here I've called mine Reggae Mix. Normally it will just come up and say new personal project, so you can just delete that and call it whatever you want. So when you're happy with it and you've clicked save, then if you click file, download, mix down as, then what that does is that gives you the chance to actually save your piece of work. So if I click on this, it will start to build up a percentage, and eventually what it will do is it will say, okay, what do you want to save it as? So it will think about this for a little while, and then at the end it will say, do you want to save it as an MP3, which is what we'd recommend, or you get some other formats. So that gives you some ideas, I hope, of how to use BandLab and how to work through your projects. So once you've done this, I could go onto high quality MP3, and then I could click download and it would save my work. So I'm not going to do that at the minute. I'll just jump back here. If you want to get back to where all your work is stored, if you click go to library in the top left, then that will take you back here, and then here you can see all the projects that you've made.